Hi, Lucy. It's me, Ludwig again. Last time I told you that I had this idea to start a side hustle to check out if I can play this game as well after having been bothered to do so by numerous books like Anything You Want, Millionaire Fastlane, The E-Myth Revisited, which I cannot find anymore right now, The Minimalist Entrepreneur, or by blogs like the one by Nathan Barry, or by YouTube folks like Ali Abdal, for example. Big props to all of these people, by the way. So in the last recording I explained to you why I want to do this, so now it's time for me to think a bit more about the how. In short, I want to undertake the side hustle in form of a 1-year long challenge in which I try to build and sell an app and document the journey of me figuring out how to do that. As you know, I do have some experience in coding and in web app development, but apart from that, I have pretty much no clue how to make a real product. I defined myself the goal that after 1 year I want to make a profit of $900 per month with this side hustle, and it's really good to have only one or at least a very few goals, because by this you can much better focus your energy. Everything you do is then just serving this one goal and you're not scattering your focus all over the place. But then such a single primary goal for a whole year is not really what you need to have in mind when you are working on the daily tasks. It's just too far away, it's too big, and it's not very concrete about what we have to do right now. So we need to break it down into smaller chunks, like weekly goals, for example. When setting goals, it is much cleverer to focus on your system and your methods instead of the actual end objectives. And this is where this book I recently read, Atomic Habits by James Clear, comes into play. And it's really only a small section in the book where James Clear talks about goal setting, or the rest is more about methods for building habits. But it was a super important section to me because it made it again clear to me how goals mark only a singular moment in time, while it is the system you have that leads to them. He also asks you, if you ignored your goals and focused only on your system, would you still get results? And how would that look if we only focused on our goals and not on the system to achieve them? To me, it feels like that the first option is the more clever one, right? Furthermore, another very good point he made is that winners and losers most often share the same goals, but what separates them in the end is their system, because the process is what leads them to their success, not the end objective. And then only being focused on goals also makes you focus on the future all the time, not this moment right now. But this moment right now is when things happen, right? And it's also making us much more happy to deal with the present moment than with some vague future that is somewhere out there. With that said, goals are of course not useless. They are good for providing us with a direction, but for making progress, our systems are the crucial part. So with all that in mind, break it down. Break down the big goal of this challenge. Even before being aware of the statements from this book that I read, it has already been my feeling that I should not worry too much about how the outcome performs, but just to concentrate on putting in a certain amount of work into this project. This would still be a goal, sort of, but it is a goal that is related to the system or the process and not some kind of end objective. Since this side hustle is a part-time project, I think 15 hours per week on average is a good number to put into it, and it's more on the upper limit, but yeah, let's go full speed ahead. But you also know that from time to time I like to spend my weekend doing other things than sitting in front of my computer. So for that I had the idea to make it a bi-weekly goal, so 30 hours per 2 weeks that I want to achieve. This allows me to level things out a bit more. And then for making these videos, there is an additional goal, which is to create 1 recording per week. This is like what most people talking about making videos for YouTube will tell you, and it does make sense to me as well, so I will try to follow this advice. I think in the beginning more time will go into making these videos because it is in fact a bit of a challenge. I need to find the flow here and figure out all the stuff like how to speak properly, how to get more over that language barrier, how filming is done, like what light works, what about the sound, and so on. And hopefully this will get into a better flow at some point, that I can focus more on working on the app. Another thing that is super essential when talking about spending time on a project like this is being aware of the value of time versus the value of money. Meaning that you should consider outsourcing an activity when someone else can do it quicker or better than you, and you know that your time is better spent on a different task. In the future, I am quite sure that I will have to outsource some of the coding work because there will be things I will need help with, like when it comes to creating a smartphone app, for example, which I have never done before. I mean, I am excited to try this out and dive into this, but when it comes to the bulk work, I also want to have it finished in less than 10 years. Also, the editing of the YouTube videos I'm outsourcing. And although I like doing this myself a lot, I also have a full-time job, which I love doing, and the hours in the day are not endless. And then it's more important for me to get to do some coding, for example. For outsourcing stuff, I will need some budget, and with my current estimation, I calculated like between 50 and $100 per video plus something later on for the coding work. And this may change later on, but I think for the next 6 months, I can calculate with this, so it will be like $2,500 for the next half a year that I will need to invest into this project. Let's see how well this will work out. But now, since there's a bit of a framework to this whole project, it feels quite relieving, to be honest. I know better about the how. I have some sort of a system in place. I know some numbers I can stick to, and I know better what this whole project means in terms of time and money investment. So then I can go on thinking more about the tools I want to use for realizing it. And until I exactly know what this will be, I wish you a wonderful day and see you very soon.